Hey, it's Empress Rose and welcome to our collective reading. While I was getting everything started and getting into the mode, I was looking at my scrying ball and I saw a lot of different birds, different types of birds from there might have been a pterodactyl in there, a pelican, flight. I thought I saw a plane. So I think it just has to do with perhaps communication. Perhaps important messages, thought patterns, but also just flight. There could be just some flying involved or flight. It was just a lot of birds, and that was underscored by an airplane going over my head. So yeah, just flight. It seems like movement, thought movement. But it wasn't specific. It was more the concept, just because there were so many different birds there. It was more the concept of that. So, and then we'll be looking at the feather oracle at the end here. So that might tie in. All right. So I've got my goddesses out here, sort of spreading them upside down. I'm going to pick that. This deck is very unwieldy, so it's easier to just do it like that than to do everything else. It's just long. All right, we're going to take this one and this one. All right. Two of well-known faves. We have Venus and Freya. So Venus romance number, and it's 33 and 11. So kind of cool numerology going on here. Freya does what she wants. Chariot pulled by two black cats. A freedom of movement. So free spirit doing free spirit, free to go, free to do what you want. Powerful in that way. I think there's also messages here. Yeah, she's got, I think, empowerment. Again, we have like a hawk here. We have like a freedom to go somewhere and to do something. There's a little money bag, a little pink purse here. She's got the capacity and the capacity to go where she wants. And then we have romance. So I think I did my, let's see, there we go. And then we have romance 33. I don't know if I can show Venus. I'm pretty sure that this is I've only used this card once or twice on these readings. And I know I've gotten her before because we've got boobies. So romance 33, emergence, Taurus and Libra vibes, both beauty. There's a lot of poise here. There does seem to be something about blonde hair here, perhaps. Cupid. Oh, we are heading into Valentine's Day. There's roses all over this Venus. Okay, you did want to go back in there. Okay. Moving into the Dreamscape Oracle, we have balance. And this is interesting because the free spirit and the romance, they're like connected to each other. And it's reminding, and there's this like independence plus interdependence. So there's both things going on here. We have a connection to someone else, but we also have independence. So that balance that where our psyches are always trying to achieve between, independence and being who we are and doing the things we want to do and connecting with others and being part of something larger than ourselves, part of a couple, part of a group, part of something like that. And that sort of need for both of those, community and independence. And so balancing those energies, and then just balancing the energies, having a good balance between things. I was told earlier that we would be using some bookage here. We're going to use some books, so I want to check that. Hold on. It's just looking for the positive and the negative and understanding that everything has a little bit of both. So basically, it does seem like we're balancing our free-spiritedness with our need to cooperate and be in community and be part of a larger group. And having those things in balance. So we've got the yin yang represented here, the light and the dark, and the dark and the light. There's also a little bit of like Aries energy in this because she's wearing the ram's horns here. So there's something about hair. Actually, it's reminding me of Freya's hairdo here too, the little side braids. Princess Leia idea. Princess Leia hair. All right, we've got the Paulina Tarot, which is really interesting to me. I wasn't expecting to do that today, but we're rolling with it. From the bottom of the deck, the Hermit card. All right, we've got all sorts of astrological signs really jumping out here. The Hermit card, Virgo, one step at a time, being able to see what what's coming next. Yeah, one step at a time. Divine timing, slow movement, deliberate movement. I guess what I'm probably going to be doing is looking at all these different birds too. Like we have a hawk here with Freya. We've got the doves with Venus, and she's got some sort of bird on her head too. So birds on the mind. Yeah, but this Virgo energy, the Hermit here, independent, working independently, working solo, free spirit energy, working solo, working by yourself, and moving things forward step by step, right? There's a saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with the group. So there's that independent, the solo versus group dynamic already up here. The Hermit card's bringing that into clarity, that there's this solo element to something. But the Hermit card also, to me, is like almost the opposite of that saying. So I said the saying to say the opposite. Is going solo and going slow, being able to be deliberate, being able to follow your own intuition with each step of the way, and not necessarily needing to converse with the group, needing to get consensus. So overall, it's something about perhaps something you're doing solo that is going slowly and deliberately, but in your own actions with your own life, you're moving in a very deliberate pace, a lot of deliberation. There might be health aspects here. There might be, but your intuition is moving you forward, but it's almost like you're not taking a step forward until you can really see it and really understand it. It's like when you're walking in some, like what might be an icy parking lot or something, like taking a step, okay, this feels secure, or going down some icy stairs or something like that, like taking the step, testing it out. Oh no, more like walking on the beach. On the rocks, on a rocky beach, and going from rock to rock, and you kind of test out. Sometimes you can leap, but this is more about testing out each rock to see its wobble factor before really committing all of your energy and weight to that step. So that's a little bit more of the Hermit vibe. Past. Oh, the duck completely upside down, so I was gonna read the backs of the cards, which are all pretty much the same. Past, present, inner landscape, what's at issue, environment, to-do list, possible outcome. All right, in the recent past, well, let's get an overview here. Okay, we've got 3 major arcana, 2 people. All right, we're going a good place. We're going to the good place here, which is not the bad place, it's the good place. All right, Page of Wands in the recent past. Being very inspired by something, excited by something, maybe an unusual. The page is the student vibe, the child vibe. It's very excited. We're playing the Fool a little bit here. This can be the Fool energy of just being inspired by something, not necessarily looking where you leap. But a very playful, delightful energy. a lot of curiosity, a lot of magic seems to be afoot. This is someone that you know. This is a person who has this energy, embodies this sort of childlike energy. They could be learning something. They could be developing their spiritual path, their creative path. It might have been you in student mode on a creative or spiritual path. But there is like a lot of curiosity about energy. There's someone who's this is a person who's sort of waking up to a new energetic vibe, maybe a new energetic level. They're waking up to something, and getting a nice overview. I think there's a sense of destiny, of divine timing here. Learning a craft, and it's delighted. There's lots of delightful surprises, and it's just a different energetic space to be in. It's working with energy, and it's a different energetic space. Current situation, 10 of Swords. Oof. How did we go? Maybe the Page of Swords is like someone with an immature vibe, a Joker vibe, but they've caused a lot of pain and a lot of difficulty. Looking at this 10 of Swords now, the Page of Wands seems like there might have been some immaturity here, at least an immature vibe, maybe playfulness that's actually like created some suffering and some difficulty, perhaps unintended. Perhaps there was a joke here. Perhaps it was someone maybe was like entering into new territory as far as like just learning something or learning how to do something, or playing around with something, but there might have been some accidental suffering that was caused, or perhaps even actual real suffering. Like Page of Wands, I guess it's like a little bit of impishness, and with this dragon here, there could be some fire to that impishness, you know. A Page of Wands being fire, fieriness, a fire sign perhaps. But there's this bright light here, and yeah, maybe some impishness, because next to this 10 of Swords, someone's been a little bit of a trickster, a little bit immature, which the pages would be. We could expect the pages to be a little bit immature with the energy that they have, or the power that they have. And 10 of Swords, they've caused some sorrow, some suffering, some difficulty. The difficulty is coming to an end. You may have had difficulty with a more immature person. That difficulty is coming to an end. Either maybe they're maturing, or maybe they're just moving on. But 10 of Swords does indicate a difficulty that's over. Usually it's over because we just don't have anything more to say. There's just nothing else to be done here. It's usually circumstantial, in my opinion, as far as like, not necessarily that somebody's changed. This impish Page of Wands energy, or person in that energy, that behaving immaturely may not, it's just done. And it's not necessarily that person like grew up, got a clue, was able to see other people through a different lens, or see themselves through a different lens, or learn anything. It's just that they kind of just either, you know, they were teasing you at a bus stop and it was a little bit painful or weird, and then their bus arrives, and then they it's time for them to go. It's not necessarily that they're like, oh wow, I really thought about that, and I shouldn't have said that, or you know, I guess I could see it. That's not what happened here. It's just circumstantially the situation is over. There's wounds, but healing can happen now because the, like, you know, scab, so to speak, isn't being picked off constantly every day or whatever. But yeah, this Page of Wands is starting to look really immature next to this 10 of Swords, and their immaturity has caused some suffering and some difficulty. And they're pretty proud of it too. They're like, oh, look at me, I can burn people, ha ha ha, look at me. I can do that. If that was you, then you definitely have experienced some consequences to your behavior that have not been comfortable. So in your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape, you're showing up as the King of Cups. A lot of emotional maturity, quite the juxtaposition to this Page of Wands. You have endured this with aplomb. You're just, there was this meme for a while of just, I'm sure it's still floating out there, but just like somebody's like drinking their coffee and like, this is fine. It's not necessarily that this is fine, but what was it? It was somebody. Oh, was it the Kermit the Frog? I think I'm thinking of Kermit the Frog here, who's just like drinking his tea. It's like, none of my business. So like, you do what you want over there. I'm going to remain chill in my own vibe over here. So this is either like what you're striving for is some sort of emotional maturity about a situation that turned out to, you're watching some young one be a little immature, and you're maintaining your composure, or trying to, or hoping to, or learning, or developing more emotional maturity. So maybe it was you that was emotionally immature. You suffered the consequences of your rash actions, and now you're hoping to grow and become more. This is like such a classic, almost daily storyline for every person, or should be like, oh, I was impulsive or immature, and I'm realizing the pain that caused, and I'm trying to be a lot more mature about things and a lot more whatever. And we're going through this. This is where growth comes from. This is how we mature. This is how we end up being 80 years old and a wise old woman, and not a totally pain in the ass piece of crap that no one wants to hang out with or deal with, right? So it's that self-reflection of this pain. It was caused by my own immaturity or somebody else's immaturity. And so it's just a path of growth is basically what I'm seeing. And it's a path of growth that's brought on by consequences, by pain, by suffering. So somebody else may not be growing. Somebody else may not have realized that they need to mature, but you certainly are. And either somebody else's actions are causing you to dig deeper for your own emotional equilibrium and maturity, either that, or your own behavior and the consequences of that are causing you to dig deeper into emotional maturity and growth. Because the King, this is someone who's showing up as very mature. And this is like your hopes and your fears. So I think you're hoping to embody this energy. You either are already embodying the King of Cups energy, or you are hoping that you are, you want to be the mature. It's not necessarily always taking the high road, because the high road can be defined by other people in things that are favorable to them. They'll tell you, oh, the high road would be just to ignore everything I said. So take the high road, or ignore, keep the peace at all costs, because I'm in this situation and that's what I want. So the high road isn't always like just, so other people might define the high road for you, and what's best and what mature emotional interaction seems like or is. And they might define that in a way that's very convenient for them. So you can't allow other people to define what the high road is or what the highest emotional intelligence is, because sometimes emotional intelligence does involve pushing back, standing your ground. So it's some sort of discernment and some sort of emotional situation. And that's what you're hoping for. Sort of gliding, you're hoping to glide through a situation fairly unbothered, not stirring up a bunch of your own emotional stuff, but calmly sipping your tea as you glide gracefully and beautifully and lovingly through a situation that could be a little painful. So you're hoping for some emotional maturity, that's what you want to embody, is some sort of emotional mastery. And again, that's not control, and that's not controlling our own emotions. That's being able to handle them. They may be a little hot, but we're going to take a little sip of that. Oh, speaking of which, that was water, but pretend it was really hot tea and you were like, okay, moving on, right? You want to glide through this. even though it's a little bit painful. And what's at issue here is judgment reverse. This is interesting. Because judgment reverse looks to me like time has passed and you can't go back. Like, and we have time. You can't go back in time. There's no... You can't go back. You can't redo something. Something hasn't come back for... And maybe you needed some closure, or maybe you needed some... something sort of sewn up. But it's not, the opportunity has not arisen for you to redo something or review something. There's been no review here. There's been no opportunity to evaluate a situation, or like maybe this Page of Wands did something or said something and it was very painful. You've dealt with it with as much maturity as you have access to, but this Judgment card is like the person hasn't come back. There's been no review, there's been no apology, there's been no nothing. You haven't had a chance. If you're the one that's owing the apology, and we all do from time to time, you haven't had a chance to give that, to offer that. You haven't reconnected with this situation, with this person, to be able to offer that. Or this person hasn't been able to offer you an apology. It just hasn't come up. You haven't circled back around to the situation yet. So something hasn't, there's not been, something hasn't come up again. It hasn't, so that could also be like this Page of Wands, doing and saying something, you being really hurt, dealing with it very gracefully, but maybe being like, okay, next time that comes up, I need to do this, or I need to say something, or I need to do something else. But it hasn't come up again. So there's just something about the past that's not repeating here. Either this person hasn't returned back. So for some of you, it'll be this person hasn't come back and there's been no way to sort of review what happened or rehash what happened or take another opportunity to have a more productive conversation about something. But for others, it's just whatever you're experiencing, something may have happened and it's not a repeat of the past. So you may have been triggered by something, but it's not the same thing as the past. It's not the same situation as the past. So we'll see what else. In your environment, you have the Chariot. Someone's traveling. Someone in your environment is moving, is traveling. There's coordination going on here. There's, again, a lot about time and timing, divine timing. It's really funny. The Chariot is usually about something getting coordinated and everybody moving in the same direction, but these horses are not. In this particular Chariot, and this deck, it's beautiful, but sometimes I find it really overwhelming or unclear. And so, but today it was just like very clearly, I am using this deck. I had a different deck out, I had shuffled it, and then was like, whoa, different deck needed completely. And so, and not just different deck, but this deck in particular. So what's interesting is that the Chariot shows up as discoordination, which is what we've had recently. I didn't pull the Chariot for like a whole year in readings, and then suddenly I'm pulling it all the time, but it's always a discordant energy. And so this one in the upright is typically going to be coordination, travel, but this is a discoordination. There's something, there's movement here. It's just maybe a little herky-jerky, confused movement, not a coalition. I don't know. I mean, I want to like take the meaning by the book, which is like transportation. And we had all those birds earlier, flight, and these are winged horses. And we have a winged dragon too. And we have a swan. Just looking again at the birds, at the birdage here. And that's it. So the swan, King of Cups, commitment, love, a master of that. And that's sort of internally, your hope is to be that high vibe love, that high source of committed love, unconditional love, perhaps. A chariot is something moving, something going forward, travel, a trip. It can be coalition building, but these horses look a little disorganized, honestly. They're just not quite in lockstep with each other. So this could be like a journey or a trip or transportation that's a little bit, or a vision. It could be like a vision where we're having a hard time getting everybody on the same page. Getting everyone moving in the same direction. This could be because someone is going on a trip. It could have to do with a trip or a journey. But like maybe a lack of definition, a lack of agreement on something. There's disagreement on some sort of trip or journey. It's not smooth sailing. The chariot could be smooth sailing. The chariot also comes across sometimes as a bit of a time machine, of like a leap forward, like an airplane in a way, given like the relationship between time and space, and then suddenly you're like over here way faster than you would be if you walked. So there's always some sort of leap, in my opinion, that's faster than you were expecting. So that could be a little bit of the chariot too, something faster than you're expecting, kind of catching you flat-footed or throwing you off a little bit. Could be coworker energy. The chariot can be coworker energy as well. So with this Page of Wands and this immaturity here, and this immature energy, and trying to coordinate with that. If you're the King of Cups and you have to coordinate and work with a Page of Wands, it's going to be some pretty discordant energy that's going to be hard to get moving in the same direction and hard to move forward. This charioteer looks a little exhausted, honestly, and frustrated about trying to get something, trying to coordinate something. So that's going on in your environment. You may have someone who's a little exhausted at trying to get something coordinated or moving forward as well. So your to-do list, 6 of Cups, that's really interesting, because Judgment is like the giant 6 of Cups in a way. It's like the past coming back. And 6 of Cups is nostalgia. It's a very positive vibe. We are looking at gifts. Something from the past coming back. It hasn't come back yet. Maybe you circle back around to something. It's very emotional. These are very beautiful, loving emotions. Again, with the King and the Page, we have this adult-child relationship. You may have a mentee. You may have an actual child. There's a parent-child or a hierarchical situation here, and this is we have the child. So wherever you're at in the hierarchy, this is in a way I'm seeing like gifting someone, gifting a teacher with something, gifting, and that's not the usual. The usual meaning of 6 of Cups is returning to the past, nostalgia, remembering where you came from, remembering positively something, positive emotions from the past, or returning to your hometown, returning to a place of nostalgia. But in this one, I'm kind of specifically getting this like gifting someone who is older than you, has been a mentor to you, because this is your to-do list. And so we have the adult figure receiving a gift from a child, and those gifts from children are so pure and so delightful, and there's an innocence to them, and there's the joy of giving is really what we're seeing here, is the joy of giving, a very childlike joy in giving. And you know what, gift giving is one of the highest, like something like 70% of people have anxiety over gift giving, especially around the holidays and birthdays and stuff like that. There's just this, you're dealing with budgetary constraints, you're dealing with not knowing, especially as things get more complicated and people have access to everything. It's just more stressful. You want the person, you're trying to please the person, you want to delight them, but there can be some anxiety there. So Six of Cups, because I think we all have experienced having given a gift from the heart that we felt was from the heart, and it not being received in that way. So, so in some ways, there's like it's interesting. I'm trying to jive it with the rest of this reading with this King of Cups energy that you're in, but the Six of Cups takes you into a childlike energy of freely giving something. And maybe even returning to that state and that memory of before all these experiences, how you freely gave. Because this, in some ways, this isn't the past. In other ways, this is returning to a previous state of openness and innocence, trusting that this isn't going to be the past. Because the past isn't actually here. It's present. But Six of Cups harkens back to the past. So there's something about the past, and our judgment in reverse is saying it's not here. The Six of Cups is saying, and yet there's still something here. There's something that, there's an innocence to be returned to. And it has to do with this cups, these emotions, and giving. There's a giving here. And there's a protected space here too. So wow, that little spigot just turned right off right there. So moving on to Nine of Cups. So there's 3 cups here. So this is very emotional. We have the Hermit over here taking slow, deliberate steps. But this Nine of Cups is very emotionally satisfied. And it's being emotionally satisfied with yourself, with what you did, with what you brought to the table, with your actions, with your personal growth. This King of Cups, what you want, so over this Nine of Cups, I think you get to the emotional maturity that you want, that ability to drink some hot tea and kind of glide through it. I think you get there. There's this emotional maturity, which involves some amount of emotional immaturity, or at least emotional innocence, and returning to an innocent state. It's reminding me of this really old song. It's by Enigma. It's called Return to Innocence. So a return to innocence, I feel like, with the Six of Cups, and you're going to be very happy with yourself. You're going to be very happy with what this means. So yeah, someone was foolish. Someone really hurt you and really harmed you with their immaturity, either on purpose or accidentally, with their immaturity and their impishness. This Ten of Swords gives way to the Six of Cups. So there's a sense of the pain and suffering. Part of the healing process is returning to a less self-conscious state, returning to you're still the King of Cups, but there's this energy, you want to be mature, but there's a sense in which maturity involves some amount of immaturity. I want to say trust, giving, vulnerability, and a return to sort of that innocent state as part of emotional maturity, is being able to discern when it's time to be emotionally, not immature in a bad way, but emotionally childlike. That ability to go back and forth between those states. So if you owe someone, there's basically a bouquet here in a cup. There's something beautiful being given. So if you've hurt someone, it may be appropriate to bring a gift, bring some flowers, deliver something, some kind of openness and innocence here. And you're going to be very, very happy that you did. So Six of Cups could be an apology, a return to something. A Six of Cups could be just this openness. And I'm not saying apologize to every person or whatever, but there's something here with an openness, just being emotionally open and available to either give or receive some heartfelt, a very heartfelt gift or communication. And this Nine of Cups here is, you're going to be so happy with it. It's going to be very fulfilling. It is not the past repeating itself. Oh, wow. The animal oracle. What's it? I never remember. Okay, what it's called. It's just kind of a name. Rabbit spirit now is a lucky time. So we are still in the year of the rabbit, but now is a lucky time. That's really beautiful. I don't really think there's much more to say there. And then from our feather oracle deck, we have this feather, and it is the finch. The finch. New opportunities and choices are opening to you now. Claim them. Okay, and this one I know for sure that we are looking at the book on this one. The finch. It's reminding me of Atticus Finch, To Kill a Mockingbird. Wow, there's a lot of birds in that book, huh? Hold on, I'm going to read this and I'll just come back with what you need. Actually, never mind. We're just going to read it because just about every sentence related to this reading. So, Finch is a feather messenger who heralds the abundance of joyful opportunities. Native Americans, doesn't specify which group, referred to the finch as the bird of happiness. They believe the bright yellow color of this bird was a gift from the gods that would bring bright joy, abundance, and freedom into their lives. And then we have free spirit here, freedom. I think you'll have emotional freedom, maybe something that's weighed on you becomes lifted as you give and receive emotional reconnection with someone. They also thought the song of the finch was a pure sound that announced the arrival of spring, which meant new opportunities and increased activities. The pure sound thing is reminding me of the Six of Cups, your to-do list, the pure sound, pure communication. Finches, many variety species, remind us of the endless array of choices that life provides. This feather messenger has brought you the gift of abundance in the form of opportunity. Finch lands lightly as it is filled with the high vibration of new activity. Balancing activity with rest can set the perfect stage for new openings to emerge. Balance. So being ready, being poised for the next thing. Rest, and I liked that, the rest and activity, balancing those two things so that you're ready for when a new opportunity comes in. Remember that Finch also reminds us through its lightness and connection to air to watch our mental activity as well. And then the affirmation, which we will say together. I am ready to embrace. I am ready to embrace and welcome new abundance and light. New abundance and light. And I feel like this Nine of Cups, I think you are either offering or receiving or both, in the interconnectedness of all things, this lightness, and I think you're going to be very happy with it. I think that's a bit of this reading. So hopefully that was helpful for you. Thanks for joining me again, and we'll talk next time.